Today we have with us Dr. Sarfaraz Hussain. He is an assistant faculty of electronics at NIELIT Delhi Center, and he is also a part-time instructor in An Academy. He was a Visvesvaraya PhD fellow at NERIS, Northeastern Regional Institute of Science and Technology. He did his PhD from there on the topic of design of an efficient ADC for low power and high speed applications. His research interests includes analog VLSI circuit design, mixed signal design, and biomedical healthcare electronics. He is with us for 4 sessions from today onwards. He will be handling the last session each day from today. So I request the participants to be interactive with him so that you can learn as much as LT Spice as you can, and you can extract whatever knowledge he has with him. Okay, thank you. I will request Dr. Sarfaraz Hussain to continue with his deliberations.
Okay, thank you, Apurva sir. It was a really pleasure to be here, and I welcome you all the participants. And I'm glad that you all are here. And I'll be basically giving a hands-on session on LT Spice. So I suppose that all of you have got the instruction manual for downloading the LT Spice, right? So I suppose that all of you have downloaded the LT Spice software.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, so that is great actually.
Yes, sir.
So if all of you have downloaded the software, so I'll just share the software here. I'll just share that one. And okay, just so is my screen visible?
No, sir, it's not a share.
Okay, just 1 minute. Okay, so there is some error while sharing, I guess. Sorry, an error has occurred when screen sharing.
Yes, it is visible now, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much for confirming that. So what we will do today is that we'll just see how to use this particular tool. Okay, so the first session will be about the introduction to LT Spice, and I will take up some basic circuits first. So I'll just take up a RC circuit. I'll show you how to do the simulations using the RC circuit, and we'll see how we can analyze these tools. So first of all, I suppose all of you have opened the tools, LT Spice tool. So once you will open the page, so your background screen can be different. Okay, so for mine, it is this one. So for you, it can be different. So there's no problem with that. Now, what we'll do today is that first of all, we'll go to this file menu. Okay, so we'll go to file and then we'll click on new schematic. Okay, so first of all, we'll draw a schematic. So since we want to do the RC circuit analysis, so we'll click on this one, new schematic. So for my screen, it is showing white background, right? And for you, it might be showing some different colors. So what we can do is that if you want to change the color of your schematics. Okay, if you want to change the background color, then what you can do is that you can go to this tools and you can click on color preferences. When you will click on color preferences, you'll get some color preferences in this form. Okay, so there is a color preference for waveform, then for schematic, for netlist. So you'll get these 3 windows, separate sub windows, and you can select, like suppose for schematic I want to change the color. So you can select the particular item for which you want to change the color. So you can just click on the background. So here it is written background. At the end, you'll see that it is written background. So you can click on this background and you can change the color of the background by moving this cursor. Okay, so if you will move this blue cursor or this green cursor, red cursor, so you can make use of these cursors. So since I want a white background, so that's why I made this in this form, and you can click on apply. So this way you can just change the background color of schematic, waveforms, so netlist, so like that you can do. So since I want to use a white background, so that's why I have changed the color to white. Now in order to make a RC circuit, so first we need a resistor and a capacitor. There are some built-in resistors and capacitors over here. So here the symbol of a resistor. So if you will drag your cursor towards this, you'll see that it is written resistor. Now here it is written capacitor. So this is a capacitor, this is an inductor, okay? Then this is a diode, and here you will see another term is there. So it is component. So if you want to use any different component other than this resistor, capacitor, inductor, then you have to click on this particular instance, that is the component. And there is a ground which is available over here. So if you want to connect the ground to any circuit, so you can make use of it. For drawing a wire, you can use this pencil, okay? So this symbol. So if you will bring your cursor near to this one, you can see that here it is written wire, okay? So we can connect it with a wire. So first what we'll do, we'll click on this one, okay? So we'll place a resistor and then we'll place a capacitor, okay? So since we want to make a RC circuit, so let us try and make a low pass filter, okay? So what I will do, I'll just comment in this one. So you can go to edit and then you can press on text, or you can directly type T, okay? So if you will directly type T, then this particular text window will come up and you can just write down RC low pass filter. Okay, this is just to show that we are doing an analysis for the RC low pass filter, and we can place it over here. Now, if you want to deselect a particular component, then you can just right click on that one. Okay, so suppose I'm selecting this wire. Okay, so it will be like this. So I will click on C and I'll go to this point, and you will see that if I will drag this further, so you can see that the line is also moving, right? But if I don't want to move this line, okay, if I don't want this particular line to be anywhere else, then I'll just right click on this one. So if I right click on this one, so this particular thing gets discarded. Then if I right click again, so then this cursor will go on. So now I can select any item from this one. So I can choose which one to take. Now, if I want to move this particular resistor, okay, so there are two options. One is the move option, another is the drag option. So, okay, so we can make use of drag option. So if we click on drag, and if you drag any component, so you can see that this line also moves along with that. Okay, so this is just like dragging. And we can also use a move component. So this will move the particular resistor or capacitor. So if I want to move this particular capacitor from this particular connection, then I'll just click on move and I'll click on the component. And then I will click on again. Then I'll right click this one to deselect it. Okay, so you can just make a note of it. Okay, so if you will make a note of it, then it is much better. So I suppose you will have a pen and paper along with you. So you can just make note of it that in order to deselect these components or anything, you can just right click on that one. You can right click on anywhere in this particular background. Now, if I want to change the direction of this one, okay, if I want to make this upright, or if I want to make this one in a horizontal way, so what I will do, I'll click on this particular button, that is the move one. Then I'll click on resistor, and then I will, okay, so if see here, if you will move this one upwards, so it goes up. Okay, so that is why you have to be careful. Now, once your mouse, okay, or the cursor is near to these 2 points, so here is a term called rotate, and another is the mirror. So when you want a mirror image of that one, you can click on this one. Okay, so this is just the mirror image. Now if you want to rotate this one, then click on the left hand side. So if you click on this one, so we are able to rotate this one. Now suppose you are bringing this, so you have to bring it down. Okay, so I am trying to bring this down. Now if you are stuck with that one, so what you can do is that, suppose if I have brought this register somewhere up here, now what I can do is that I can click on this zoom full extent. So if I click on this one, so it will cover all the components. If I want to zoom out, then I can click on this one, okay, the negative one. If I want to zoom in, I will click on this one. Okay, so I will just select this particular part where I want to zoom, and I can click on that one. And if I click on this, so it will cover all the components in this particular background. Now I want to move this one here, so I'll bring this one down. Now I want to connect this circuit. Okay, so I'll click on this zoom, and then I will just minimize a little. Then I'll click on wire. I'll connect this RC circuit over here. Now, what do we want? So we want a voltage over here, okay, and we have to ground this particular reference part. Okay, so we have to ground this one. So for ground, we can choose from this particular menu. Okay, so we can click on this one. So let us click on this, and let us bring this down and place it over here. Then you can see another component is also showing. So just right click on that one, then click on wire and connect this ground to this reference line. Now zoom out, or you can just move this to a full extent. Now I want a voltage source over here in order to visualize our signal. Okay, so in order to complete this particular circuit, I need a voltage source. So then what I'll do, I'll go to component. Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, grounding is always necessary.
Yes. For LT-Spice it is required, because it needs a reference point from where it will calculate the values. So as such,
I understand, but if you just simply say connect the supply between the one end of the resistor and the other end of the capacitor,
yes,
nominally it should work, but if that is a particular requirement about LT-Spice, that's okay.
Yes. Actually, that is a particular requirement about LT-Spice, but the circuit will run somehow, because the circuit is complete, right? Without the ground also it will work, but it needs a reference circuit. So the LT-Spice doesn't read the complete circuit as, you can say, a ground terminal. Like it will say that it is a floating point. It will not say that it is connected to ground. So it will assume that it is a floating point over here. So in order to make this as a reference point, we need a ground actually over here. Because LT-Spice, it is a condition for LT-Spice that we need a ground for a reference circuit, or any other voltage or anything. Like we can use any voltage, or we can use a ground terminal, because the LT-Spice, what it does is that it assumes that this is a floating point actually. So that is why we need to connect some voltage towards this one. So since we are considering this one as a reference point, so for reference we are taking as 0 volt. So that is why we are connecting ground over here. So I will show you the difference. So without ground and with ground. So I'll show that as well, that what happens if I don't connect the ground here. So suppose if I don't connect a ground over here, okay, so suppose I have removed this one. So let us see what happens if I don't connect the ground over here. So actually when I don't connect a ground over here, so it assumes that this is a floating point actually. So let us put the values over here. So for selecting the voltage, we can click on component, and then we can select. Okay, so here we have a lot of options. So here we have CMOS models are there, CMOS and CMOS P model is there, PMOS models are there. So we can choose a number of components from here. MESFET is there, NPN, PNP. So a lot of components are here. So from here only we will select the voltage component. And there is also current also. So if you want to select some DC current, so you can also select. So you can just type on current in this search window. So here, from here, we can just click on this one. So now let us click on this voltage, and if we click, so we'll get a voltage. So since we have already got the voltage, so we can just disregard it. So we can just right click on that one. So we'll discard that one. Now we have got the components. Now we want to put the values. So how are we going to put the values? So what we'll do, so we'll just right click on this resistance. Okay, so we'll right click on this instance and we get this particular window. Now we'll put some resistance value over here. Okay, so what value we are going to take? So let us say we are taking this value as 100K. Okay, and the capacitance value, so we will right click on this one, we'll put some capacitance value, let us say 10 picofarad. So we have taken resistance as 100K and capacitance as 10 picofarad. Now this particular voltage, so if we are going to do AC analysis, DC analysis, so we can choose which voltage we want to use. So we can just right click on this one. So since we right clicked on this one, so you can see over here it is showing the DC value. Okay, so we can choose any DC value. So if you want to have any DC supply over here, so we can just click on this one, so it will show you the DC value of this one. But if you want an AC value, so what we'll do, we'll go to the advanced button over here. So we'll click on this advanced and we'll get a number of pulses over here. So we'll get a number of functions over here. And here is one more option that is called the PWL file. So if you have any other file, okay, for the input function, if you have any other file, so you can just browse it and you can use it for the simulation. Now for our case, let us say we'll choose the sinusoid signal. So we'll click on this one, sine. Now we have got these many values, so we'll have to put some values to it. So what we'll do, so DC offset value, amplitude value, so whichever we want, so we'll use that. So suppose I only want amplitude and frequency. So I want amplitude to be, say, 2 volts, and let us say the frequency I want is 100 mega. So in this case, if you write 100 capital M, so this M actually means milli in this case. Okay, so in order to make it mega, we need to write it MEG. So when we write it MEG, so this becomes 100 mega ohms. Sorry, 100 megahertz. Okay, so for mega, you have to use this MEG. And if we are going to do the AC analysis, so make sure that you're putting the AC amplitude as 1, and we'll click on this one. So we have this complete circuit. Now what we'll do, we can save this circuit. So for saving this circuit, click on File, then you have an option for Save and Save As. So you have to click on Save As, then you can choose the particular folder where you want to save it. Okay, so suppose I want to save in this particular folder, so I'll choose this one and I'll name it. Okay, so let me name it as test1, or you can say RC low pass filter also, I can just write down. So let us write down test1, or we can just name. So you can just write down RC low pass filter also, so it is up to you. Now once we have got this one, we have saved this one, now we need to simulate this one, we need to run this one. So there is a run command over here also, and there is also an option that is simulate. So if you click on simulate, and we can also click on run, and there is another option that is the edit simulation command. Okay, so we can either go to this edit simulation command and choose the analysis that we want. So if we want to do the transient analysis, then you can put the stop time over here. If we want to do the AC analysis, then we have to sweep. Okay, so we can choose what we want. We want octave, linear, decade, so whatever we want, so we can just choose. Here we have a DC sweep, the noise, DC transfer, and we have DC operating point. So all these we can find out from this one. So for the time being, so for this particular circuit, let us find out the AC analysis. Okay, let us do the AC analysis for this one. So how many points do we want? So let us say we want 100 points, and let us say that let us start with 1 hertz, and the stop frequency, let us say 100 megahertz. Okay. And we can place this particular term anywhere in this particular background. Then let us run this one. So once we click on run, so here as you can see, when I clicked on the run, so here you can see an error message. This circuit does not have a conduction path to ground. This flag as node as ground. Okay, so this error will come up since I have not connected the ground. So that's why this error has come up. Okay, so that's what I was trying to explain, that if I don't put a ground over here, then it assumes that it is a floating point. Okay, so that is why we need to put some reference to it. So what we will do, so we'll just put a ground over here. So I suppose this is clear why we need a ground in this particular circuit.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for confirming. So now I have put a ground over here, and let us run this one again. So as you can see, when we run with this reference point,
I
so
have
you can also
another point here.
put any voltage over here also. Yes, but there has to be some reference voltage over here. It can be 0, 1, -1, anything, but there has to be some reference voltage. Otherwise, it assumes it as a float. So now we have got this one. So if you want to find out the output voltage, so let us say if you want to take the output voltage for this particular component over here, so we click on this one. Okay, so here you can see the graph. Okay, so here you can see the gain. Okay, so this is the magnitude curve and this is the phase. So the dotted lines, these actually show the phase curve. Now if you want to find out the cutoff frequency, you can also do that. Okay, so you can check which is the what is the cutoff frequency. Okay, so for that, how we can do this one, so you can choose -3 dB from here. So -3 dB, if you will select from here, then you can see which is the cutoff frequency. So suppose I click on this one, and if you click it once, you'll get a cursor. Now in this cursor, you can move it, and you can see the data over here on your right hand side. So here you can see the magnitude, phase, and group delay. So if I want the magnitude to be -3 dB, so I'll go to this particular part, that is -3 dB. So once I choose this -3 dB, so what is the cutoff frequency that I'm getting? So I'm getting this cutoff frequency, right? 159.62, this much kilohertz. So is it correct that if what will the cutoff frequency? So you can just match this one with the low pass filter that we have designed. So for this particular low pass filter, what will be the cutoff frequency? So theoretically also we can do that. We can compute this one. So what is the formula for that one? So FC is equal to 1 upon twice pi, right, RC, right? This is the formula, if I'm not wrong. So this is the formula. So the cutoff frequency, that is FC, is equal to 1 upon twice pi RC, right? So if you find out this particular value, so theoretically we can compute this one. Okay, so we can just compute this part theoretically. So if we compute this one, so it will be near about 159 only. Okay, so you can use a calculator to do that one, and theoretically it will be near about 159 kilohertz. Okay, so theoretically if we'll compute with using this resistor and capacitor, so we'll get 159 kilohertz, and the simulated value we can just see. Okay, so we can just look into this particular graph, and we can click on this one, we can move the cursor. So once we get this -3 dB, so we can look for this particular frequency. So here you can see that it is 159. So that means our test results are correct. Okay, so this is one of the examples for a low pass filter. So I suppose it is clear to all the participants.
Yes, sir, we understood.
Okay, so thank you so much for confirming this one. So these are the things in RC filter. Okay, so we can use any of the components. And now since it is clear, so if you have done up to this one, that means you have already learned the tool. Okay, so that means you are able to run the tool and you are comfortable with that one. So now we'll go to the next step, that is how to add a model file. Okay, so there are different commands. So we can just open up a new schematic for this one, and you can just save this particular graph, and then you can use. Okay, so we can use a new schematic for this one. So let us try to do a MOSFET characteristic. So let us try and do the MOSFET characteristic for NMOS. Okay,
Excuse
so
me, sir.
yes,
Like, if you give some time, like, and we can also verify, like, whether we are going to get with the LT spice, then we can proceed.
yeah, sure. So
Yeah.
you can just yeah, you can just try, and yeah, so once it is complete, then we will move on to this next one, that is the NMOS. So if all the participants have completed, then we can move to the next step. Okay, so let me reopen that previous one, and so you guys can just cross check that one.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I'm getting an error message when I run the simulation saying no AC stimulus found.
Okay. What is the name? Like what is the error you are getting? No stimulus.
No,
Okay. So
no AC stimulus. Set the value of the current or voltage source to AC 1 point.
okay.
No AC
So
stimulus. Okay.
yeah, you have to put the AC value as 1 volt actually. Here, like when you will right click on this one, okay, right click on this source V1,
Yes.
and here make sure to your right hand side here you will see that small signal AC analysis. So AC amplitude should be 1. So you have to put this value as 1 over here, AC amplitude. Okay, so just put the AC amplitude as 1, and make sure that you are giving amplitude as 2 over here for this sinusoid signal,
So now
and
it's running.
frequency. Okay, so now it's running. Okay, that's great.
Sir, while explaining for the next circuit, you just say in a brief how to do and all. We are.
Yes. So once
Yes,
you
sir.
all have got this particular answer, then we can move on to the next step. Okay, so we'll try and do the MOSFET characterization.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Yes. So all of you are getting, I suppose, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So let us give 5 minutes to it. Okay, so just let us wait for 5 minutes so that everyone can complete up to this. And once this is completed, so after 5 minutes, we will move to the next part, that is the NMOS characterization.
Regarding ground, I have one question.
Yes,
May I?
yes, sure.
So, is it necessary that you have to close the circuit, or you can use two ground points, like one in across the voltage at the negative end of the voltage, and another one at the other end of the capacitor?
Yes, we can use two different grounds also. So for this one, like I can use this also. So suppose
No, just
for this,
curious actually.
yeah, we can do that. Like for that one we can do this one, like we can just use this. Okay, so let me just cut this one, so we can just use this particular tool for cutting, and we can just use this ground actually. So let me show you, but actually the reference point should be the same, like they should have a common reference point. So we can do this particular simulation also. So it will also have giving us the same results. So if I simulate this one, so as you can see, we are getting the same results only. So there is no difference in it. But we need to
Thank you.
end this one. Like either we have to put any voltage or we have to put a ground over here. So that is actually necessary because it considers the other node as a floating node. So either we
Understood.
can make it a common terminal, or like we will make it a common terminal and we can connect it to the ground, or we can have a separate terminal and we can connect those to the ground. So it is both the same, but the reference point should be the same.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. So I guess all of you are getting this answer.
So we are just getting an error missing the value of RC like that.
Okay, so just check in this one, like just click on this R,
Yeah.
okay, and put the value of the resistance. So here I have taken as 100K. So you can also take 100K or whichever resistance you want to take, but you have to put a value to this resistance. So just right click on this particular resistor. So just right click on this one. So
Okay.
you'll get this particular window and put the resistance value over here.
Mm.
And here we are using basically an ideal resistor and a capacitor. Now we can also put some tolerance to it, or we can also give some power ratings also. So these are other options, like for advanced level, you can put some tolerance and all. And if you want to choose a resistor which is available in the market, then you can click on this one, select resistor. So if you click on this one, select resistor, you'll get a lot of resistance over, like you will get a lot of database over here. Okay, so these are available in the market. So these are all available in the market. So which are having for this, like for this one, it is like 100K. So it is having a power rating of 0.1 and tolerance of 1. So you can choose any of these resistor. And if you want, you can choose from another database also, like from other sources, or if you want to edit and you can put, like if you want to put any other resistance value, that also you can do by editing the database. So here also, like for this one, so we didn't put any tolerance and power wattage. Okay, so we can do that one also. And if there is any resistor model that you want to use, so that also we can do. And similarly for capacitance also, you have these options. So here, as you can see, the part number, then manufacturer part number, these are all there. So you can choose which one you want. So there is a voltage rating for that one. So we can choose. So that will actually differ for other. So if we choose this one, so it will have a different graph. If I choose this one, so it will have different graph. So it will differ a little bit. So there will not be a vast difference, but there will be a slight difference in this one. So when we choose this particular other capacitor from the manufacturers. So there is still an option, and we can choose from the manufacturer, or we can use a particular model of the capacitor, or we can just put some values over here. So we can put some voltage rating, current rating, and equivalent series resistance or series capacitance or parallel capacitance. So these things also we can put in this one. So actually LT-SPICE is such a software that we can actually explore this particular tool, and LT-SPICE is freely available. So it is a SPICE tool that is freely available, and there is a lot of scope in this particular LT-SPICE tool. Even this particular waveform that we are plotting in LT-SPICE, so this waveform we can also plot it in MATLAB as well. So we can just save the data points and we can plot it in MATLAB, and we can do further analysis in MATLAB as well. So there is this possibility for plotting it into MATLAB as well.
So can we do
So there are
practice at home? Can we do practice at home
yes.
if you provide recording of this session so that it would be easy for us?
Yes, all the sessions are recorded.
Okay.
So the team, yes, the FDP team is already recording these sessions, and I like those will be. I think those sessions will be uploaded as well.
Okay, sir.
So then you can just go through that one, and yeah, at home also you can practice those.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Because this tool actually LT Spice is gaining a lot of encouragement nowadays, and it is a very good tool. So it is by the Analog Devices, so they have came up with this free tool, and it is really powerful tool actually, LT Spice. So it has a lot of scope actually. Even if we have a particular script, that script also we can run. So I'll just show you one example for this particular circuit only. I'll show you one example in this one, like what else we can do. So if we have a HSpice code, okay, if you have a netlist, that also you can simulate. So what we can do is that we can go to tools. Okay, sorry. There is an option. Yeah, we can go to view. Okay, then we can click
View.
on this Spice netlist.
Spice
So suppose
netlist.
I want to see the netlist for this particular circuit. Okay, suppose I want to
Okay.
see the netlist for this particular circuit. So I can click on view. I can click on Spice netlist.
Okay.
So here I'll get this particular netlist. Okay. So this netlist can also be saved. Okay. So I can save this particular netlist, or I can just copy this one. Okay. And or I can just like if I can do this, so I will just right click on this one, and then there is an option like edit as an independent netlist. Okay, so if I click on this one, then we can save this particular netlist. Okay, so suppose like for this one, for this particular circuit, I go to view, I click on Spice netlist, and I selected this particular netlist. I right clicked on this one, then I clicked on edit as independent netlist. When I click on this one, I get an option to save this particular circuit. So it will be saved as the netlist as a .cir file. So let me save this one. So once I save this, I get a editor tool in this form. Okay. So now what you can do, so if you know the HSpice coding, so if you know the Spice coding, so you can also do that one. So here, let us say in place of 100, if I want to vary this one, so I can directly write down 200 over here. Okay. And if I want to simulate this one, if I want to run this one, so I can click on this run button. So once I run this one, so it will run for this particular netlist only. So now if here, as we can see, so here, since I have not given any plot information, so that's why it is not plotting anything. So I will just right click on this one. I'll click on add traces. I'll select the V output and I'll click on. So as you can see, we get these kind of graphs over here. Okay, so that means we can achieve any graph. Okay, so from this test circuit, I have drawn this particular graph. So you can see the difference. So here you see that there is a gap, right? The phase is differing from here. Since I have increased the resistance to 200, so this graph is different than this one. Okay, so let me bring this to nearer. So now it will be more clear. So if you compare this one, so as I said, so we can either draw a circuit. Okay, so we have a schematic and we can run this one and find out the graph, or else what we can do, we can write a Spice code. Okay, so we can write a Spice code, we can save it in the name of .cir file. So we can just write a Spice code, we can save it .cir file, and then we can just run this particular CIR file. Okay, so we can run this particular CIR file, and you can see that we are getting a output. Okay, so we can plot this output. So there are two ways in LT Spice. So you can either make use of the Spice code, or you can make use of the schematics. So whichever you feel like, so whichever you feel comfortable with, so you can use both. So you can either use a schematic or you can use a netlist. So there are basically two options to do this one. So that is why LT Spice is getting so much attention, because there are a lot of tools, and even if you want to play with these waveforms, we can save these waveforms and we can plot it in MATLAB as well. Okay, so there are options how to plot in MATLAB. So we can just type, like we can just save this data and we can just write a small script. So basically, like we just need to import that data into the MATLAB and we can plot those particular graph. Okay, so that we will see how to do that in MATLAB as well. So for this one, if you want to plot in MATLAB, so how we will do? So let me show you one example in MATLAB how we can do for this one. Let me show you. So suppose I got this particular graph. Now I want to save these data points. I want to plot it in MATLAB. So what I will do, I'll click on File. Then there is an option, Export Data as Text. Okay, so I can click on this one, Export Data as Text. So once I click that one, so we'll get a particular window like this, and we can choose whichever data we want to save. We can just choose from this one. So suppose I want only this data, that is of this output data. If I want only this, so I click on this one and I click on OK. So it will save a text file. Okay, so it will save a text file and which will contain this particular data. Now this data can be plotted using a MATLAB also. So if I want to plot this one into MATLAB, so let me show you. Okay, so if I want to plot this one in MATLAB, so there are few instructions which we can use. So for plotting it into MATLAB, what we can do is that I can go directly to the directory. Okay, so let me go directly to the directory. So there are actually two ways. We can either import the particular text if you want to use it, like if you want to make, let us say, if you want to keep the data, then you can do that one as well. So you can click as input file also. Now suppose I want to plot this data. So what I will do is that here you can see there is a text file, that is test1.txt. So this contains our data. So I'll just right click on this one and click on import data. So if I click on import data, so this will import the data. Okay, so one screen will pop up. So as you can see, this screen has popped up. So here you can see two columns are there. One is the frequency, and here you can see that the output values. So two columns are here. Now what we do is that we click on this import selection. Okay, so we can just click on this one, the green tick sign. So if we click on this one, then the data is imported to our workspace. So on the right hand side, you can see our workspace. So it is having frequency component and this particular output voltage. Now, if I want to plot this particular voltage, so what I'll do, you can just play with the MATLAB tool. Okay, so you can use the commands. So suppose I want to plot only this. So I'll just click on this one and I'll just the name of this one. So plot VN002. Okay, so this is the name of this particular vector. So I'll just put the name over here. So plot this. So if I run this one, so let us save it in test1 MATLAB file and then let us run this one. Okay, so invalid first data argument is showing. Okay, so that means we need to, okay, so we have to actually run this one. So this is only the text. So we will just okay, so this is the only the frequency graph. So we can plot actually both these. Okay, so we can either have this text or number form. Okay, so if it is in text form, then we have to convert into a number format also. So these things also we can do. Now, if we want to plot these two, so we can choose this. Okay, so I've converted this to the number format, and I have two number format, that is the frequency and this. So I can just write down VN002 and I can plot this one. So it is not showing anything, but I guess, okay, so we have to basically try with this one. Let us see. Okay, so the values are smaller, so that's why it is not showing, I guess. Okay, so we can try with some other example also. Okay, so I don't know, like I have to check what is problem with this one. I'll just check with this one. So let me, in the meantime, let me try some other text values. Okay, so but always remember that we need these values in the number format. Okay, so like here we have time, v in, v out is there. So if I want to just, if I do this one, okay, so if I import that, and if I write down, okay, so let me first clear this one. I think there is. Yeah, as you can see, so we can plot this one actually. So this graph, so suppose I imported the data, and when I click on this one, when I write this one, plot this, so I can actually plot in MATLAB. So you can play with the MATLAB tools actually. So what I just wanted to show you is that we can import this particular text. So there are other ways how we can save this data. So like we can use this instruction also. Okay. So basic instructions, we can use these particular instructions over here as well. So suppose say for this one, I can use this particular instruction. So what commands I can use? So I can use this particular command, import data. So it will import the data from this text file, which we have saved from the LT-SPICE. And there are columns, right? So we can choose which column is what. So suppose one column is the third column, okay? So second column, then first column. So first column, let us say it is the reference column, and the other two are the output columns. So all these three, we can just copy this one, and we can plot these individually. Okay, so we can plot this individually. So we can use the plot formula. Okay, and we can just plot this one. So suppose I want to plot these two. I can just run this one. So as you can see, I can draw two plots over here. Okay, so I can draw two plots in MATLAB. Now I can do any other analysis as well. If I want, I can place 3, 4, or whatever number of graphs you want. You can just put it over here, and you can play with the MATLAB tool. So MATLAB is also a powerful tool. So if you want the particular data, okay, so if you want to use the particular data of LT-SPICE, you can use the particular data, and you can play with the MATLAB tools if you want further analysis. So in some cases, like LT-SPICE is limited somehow to the calculation part. Like a lot of calculations you won't be able to do with LT-SPICE. So for that one, you can save the data, and you can use the MATLAB to do the calculations. Okay, so if you want to do any sort of calculations, for that you can use the MATLAB for doing the calculations, because in this one a calculator is not present actually. So only basic things that you can do is this plus, minus, derivative, integrals. So only few things you can do with LT-SPICE. So there is a limitation to the calculation. So for that one, you can use the MATLAB tool for calculation. If you want to calculate any value, or you have any conditions for a particular graph, then you can use the MATLAB tools for do. So I guess these things are clear to you, and let us move to the next part, that is the characterization of NMOS. Okay, so let us do the characterization for NMOS. So we'll first open up a new schematic. So once we have this new schematic, so we'll go to the component button. Okay, we'll click on this one, component. Now we'll choose. Okay, so here, since we are doing the characterization for NMOS, so there are two options for NMOS. One is this. Okay, so in this one, the bulb and the source both are shorted. Okay, so we can either use this particular model, or we can use this NMOS 4, which has 4 terminals. So for all the 4 terminals are separated. So what we'll do, we'll choose the NMOS 4. Okay, so there are 2 options actually. We can use NMOS and NMOS 4, both are there. But generally we use the NMOS 4 because there are ways like we can connect this bulb to any other terminal, or we can put any voltage to it. So that's why we basically choose the NMOS 4. So let us place it here, NMOS 4. Okay, so this we have placed it over here. Now, first of all, we'll complete this particular circuit and then we'll place the model. Okay, so for placing this one, what we'll do? So how to do the characterization for this one? So I need a VDD over here, and I need some voltage over here as well. And when I'll sweep this particular voltage, then, or if I keep this constant, VGS constant, and I'll sweep the VDS value, then I should get the output characteristics, right? So let me just write it down. Okay, so let us say output characterization of NMOS. Okay, so what we are doing, so we are basically doing this one, output characterization of NMOS. So now I'll choose the voltage again. So voltage, let us choose the voltage. Let us place it over here, and we'll place it over here as well. Okay, now do the connections. Okay, so do the connections as required. So here also you can choose different ground terminals, or you can just make a common reference point and you can connect that to ground as well. Okay, so if you want to deselect this one, just right click on this one. When you right click, you are deselecting this one. So this is almost complete. So we can place a ground terminal over here, and let us connect this one to this. Now we need the model file for NMOS, and if we don't use the model file for NMOS, then it will take the default value of NMOS. So there is a default model file for this particular MOSFET, that is the NMOS. So that default NMOS values, okay, or the NMOS parameter will take place and it will run the circuit. So suppose if I don't put any modeling here, okay, so let me just put the transistor sizes. So let us say if I choose the length as 1 micro and the width as 2 micro, and let us say this voltage, DC voltage, let me put it 1.8, and here let me put this also as 1.8, and let us try to just run this particular simulation. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just running this particular simulation. Now I have many options, so let me do this DC sweep. Okay, so let us do the DC sweep. So for DC sweep, what I'll do, I'll choose the source. Okay, so here it is. So which one I want to sweep? So I want to sweep this V1. Okay, and before that, what we can do is that we can put some names to these particular nodes also. Okay, so what we can do, we can just go to this one. So here you can see label net. So we will basically labeling those nets. So one net, I will label it as VDS. So here you also have an option, like it can be used as an input port, output port, or bidirectional. So this we will see how we can use this port. So we can just see this tomorrow when we'll do the symbol formation, like how we can make a symbol. So tomorrow we'll see how we can make a symbols. Now we can put a netlist label here, and we can put another netlist label over here. Okay, so let me just rename this one to VGS. Okay, so this becomes VGS, this is VDS. Now what I will do, I will just try to run this particular simulation, and I will do the DC sweep, and here I have to name the first source. So basically in this one, we can actually choose 3 sources. So at a particular time, we can sweep 3 different sources. Okay, so that means we can sweep 3 different values at the same time. So here I am trying to sweep this one, so V2 and V1. So I will just first I will sweep only V1. I'm keeping the V2 constant. Okay, so VGS I am keeping it constant, I'm only varying the VDS value. So let us see what value we will get. So this sweep, I'll put it linear. So from 0 to 1.8. Okay, so I'm sweeping this one from 0 to 1.8 and the increment. So always remember this increment, if you choose like 0.001, then you'll get a good resolution. Okay, so because the number of points will increase. So if you want a better curve or if you want to get a good curve, so always try to put this increment as 0.001. Okay, so when you put this 0.001, you get a better curve. Now you click on OK and you get this particular curve over here. Okay, so what I want, so since I want output characteristics, so I want the current and voltage relation, right? So I'll click on this current. So as you can see, the VDS, okay, so the VDS is changing and our current ID is changing. So here the x-axis is what? So this is VDS. Okay, so this x-axis is VDS. Now this is for a basic or the standard NMOS. So since it is running for the standard NMOS, so you are getting this particular value. Okay, now let us say we want a particular NMOS model. So how we are going to do that one? So let us see how we can do. We can put any modeling over here. So for doing that one, we need to include a library file. So there are two ways. So first one is that we can either write down .include. Okay, so this command we can use .include, or else we can use .lib. Okay, so let me show you both the things how we can do this. So let me show you first the include button. So let me place it here. So I have used the .include like term. Now when I right click on this .include, so this kind of an editor will pop up. Okay, so here we have two directives. So one is the .lib directive and .inc directive. So I can just choose any one of these. Okay, so if I choose this .inc, then this changes to .lib. So what I do is that, so I will just right click on this one, then I'll go to browse. So once I click on browse, I'll get, okay, so I have to choose my model file. So since I want to use this particular model file, so I'll choose this one. Okay, so here I want to use the TSMC 018, that is the 180 nanometer technology. So I'm using the TSMC 180 nanometer technology over here. So I'll choose this one. And if I want to choose another model, okay, so this is another type of a model file. This is a level 3 model file. So let me right click on this one. So let me show you this particular model file. So if I open this one, so here you can see this is a level 5, so 0.5 micrometer CMOS technology. So you can also see the internal parameters. Okay, so in this model, so the name of the model is NMOS and the NMOS is level 3 and there are some default values. Okay, so we can say the process parameters of this NMOS. So from here we can know what is the threshold value. Okay, so the VT0 will give us the threshold value. So this value we can change, and this Kp is nothing but mu and Cox value. Okay, so this Kp is mu and Cox value, and if you go for like say 59 level, okay, so here the level is 3. If you go to 59 level or 60, okay, so higher levels, then you won't find this term, that is the Kp. So there you will find a term that is called beta effective, beta EFF. Okay, so the beta effective is like you can say multiplication of Kp and the W/L ratio. So these are there. So you should actually always open this kind of model files. Now when I open this particular model file, that is the TSMC. So let us open this model file and you will see the parameters inside this model file. Now this TSMC 180, this is a level 49 model file, and you can rename this one also. Okay, so you can rename this model number, okay, model name. You can change the model name. Okay, so you can just write down NMOS 1. Okay, so if I write down here NMOS 1, and here let me write down this one as PMOS 1. Okay, so if I write down NMOS 1 and PMOS 1, So I have to, like when I'll call this particular model, so I have to call from this one, NMOS1 or NMOS PMOS1. And here you can see there are a lot of different, like you'll get these values. So those processes that you'll get, so they will give you the beta effective values. Okay, so if you are using a STL technology, then you'll get the beta effective value. And now if you click on this one, and you can save this value. Okay, so I have changed the NMOS and PMOS model name as NMOS1 and PMOS1. Now let us just open this one. Okay, so I have included that particular file. Okay. Okay, so since it is a .lib file, so let us just put it. Let us just remove this. So actually we can use this .include also, or we can use .lib also. So both will work actually. So since it is a lib file, so that is why it is not taking directly, I guess. So let me see why it is not taking. Yeah, so this .lib file, it is showing like this. Okay, so let us put it somewhere below or above, so like we want. So as you can see, it shows the path where our file is saved. So the library file, so it is saved in this particular folder, so it will choose this particular file. Now we have the path to this one, and there are other options also, like for calling any other file. So if there are some other process parameters, suppose this particular library file, okay, so it is having another process parameter, then what you can do, you can put ss. Okay, so if I write down here ss, so it will choose the small nmos and small pmos. Okay, so sorry, slow nmos and slow pmos. If I use fs, okay, so if I write down fs, then fast nmos and slow pmos. So these are basically the process parameter. Now in this particular library file, we don't have these process parameters. Okay, we don't have the four kind of processes. Okay, so we don't have this fs and ss, so we don't have these. So that is why we will not use that one, because it is not present in this particular file, so it will show an error. Now we have changed this one to nmos1. So here also we need to change this name. Okay, so it is nmos, so we have to change this symbol name to nmos1, then only it will work. Okay, so if I change this one to nmos1, and then if I run this one, so you can see there is a difference in this curve. Okay, so there is a difference in this curve. And let us say, if you want to compare with the default one, so what you can do is that you can copy this one and you can paste here. So let us copy this one. Okay, so we can use the copy. Okay, so we can use this copy button over here, and we can select this particular circuit and we can place it over here. So now we have copied this one to this. Now just change this one to nmos, so that we will get the standard whatever output we are having. Let's run these two. Okay, and here we need to change the name of this. So here it has to be VGS1 and this VDS1. Okay, now let us rerun this one. Okay, so for this one, like since we are changing only V1, so here we have to change V3 also for this one. So let us discard this one and just choose this. So the next source that we want to vary is V3. Okay, so we are doing this for the other circuit. So we'll do the same thing, 0, 1.8 and 0.001, and let us click on this one and let us just rerun this. Okay, and what I'll do, I will put a signal over here. Okay, and I will not use this VDS value. Okay, so I'm getting different values. So for this one, ID M1 and ID M2. So actually here it will not show it correctly. Why it will not show correctly? Because here this one is varying, and with respect to this is also varying, right? So we need to open it in another schematic actually. So let us just cut this one and place it over here. Just okay, so it is not. Okay, so we can do like this. We can just remove this particular part. Okay, now this one, let us replace this one. Dot. So in place of V1, we'll choose. Okay, so here we have V1. So let us keep it like this. So here V1 is there, V2 is there. So let us just run this one. And for the lower one, so we'll just remove this V3. Okay. So I guess now you are able to differentiate these two models, right? So now you can see the difference between these two models, right? So it is having a upper curve and it is having a lower curve. Okay, so for this one, as for this model, you can see it is going up to 360 microamperes, but for this particular model, it is going up to 66 microamperes. Okay, so there is a difference. So when we use a model file for a particular, so it will be different. And if we don't use a model file, so it will show the standard NMOS or PMOS properties. Okay, so this is the difference. Now we want to use the 180 nanometer technology, so we will basically using this one. So let us just discard this. Okay, so let us not save this one. So let us just discard this one. Now we have this one. So we want to do the output characterization of NMOS. So this is the output characteristics of NMOS. Now if we want to plot the particular value for different values of VGS, then what we'll do, we want different values of VGS as well. So what I'll do, I'll just open up this again, DC analysis, and then I'll click on the second source. Now the second source is the VGS. So I'll put the VGS value over here. So V2, this also I will vary from 0 to 1.8, and I'll choose this as also 0.001. Click on OK and then run the simulation. Now as you can see, you will find a lot of different plots over here. Okay, so in order to minimize this one, minimize these plots, so what we can do, so we can just minimize these plots. Okay, so since I'm choosing a lot of plots over here, so let me choose only few points, then it will be more clear. So let me do this. Okay, so here as you can see, we are having different values over here. Okay, so we have taken different values of, so since we are changing the VGS value over here, so we are getting different characters. So as we are changing the VGS, so we are getting different values for the current. Okay, so this is VDS versus ID, and this particular lines are all VGS. So here, if you want to put any marker over here, then what you can do, you can click on this waveform window. Okay, you can click on this waveform window, and if you want to like select any of these points, so you can choose that one. Okay, so what you can do is that you can just select the steps. Okay, so here all the steps have been selected, so you can either select this one. So let us say we select the step 2. Okay, now let us just mark this one. So we can use a marker over here. So we have to go to the note and annotations. Okay, then we have to click on label cursor position. So for labeling the cursor position, click on this one. Okay, so let us say we are checking these values for 1 volt. So we'll go to plot settings, we'll go to notes and annotation, and we'll click on label cursor. So here we are getting this particular cursor. Now we can also change the color of this cursor as well. So we can choose any of these colors. So let us say I chose this particular color. So we can actually change these colors. Okay, so for this particular run, okay, so for this particular run, that is the second run. So we are getting these particular values. Okay, so here we are getting, see here, this one is 1 volt, and the respective current we are getting over here. And now similarly we can do for the rest as well. So we can choose these individually. Okay, so let us choose this one, and so don't worry about this one, because again we will get the same value, so there is no need to worry about that one. So just place the cursor over here, bring it to 1 volt. And go to the plot settings, note and annotation, label the cursor over here. So here we have got another labeling. So let us color this one. Now, if we want to compare these two, so we can just select straps, then we can choose these two and click on OK. So here, since it is far, I think, okay. So let us select all. Okay, so this one is the lowest curve. So either we can choose any two nearby. So that will be much better, I guess. So let us say we can choose 1 and 1.2. Okay, so let us say we are choosing only 1 and 1.2, and let us deselect all these. Okay, so let us just remove this one. Okay, so for this one, so let us see. So another cursor, so we'll also bring this to here, and let us go to notes annotation, paste the, okay, so it is pointing to this only. So basically you can play with these tools. Okay, so once we are comfortable with these tools, so then we'll know. So here you can move the cursor. So you have to click on this one and you can move the cursor over here and you can get this. Now, in order to make the notations, so you have to click on notes and annotation and click on label cursor point. So these things you can also use for MATLAB, like by using MATLAB also you can just find out these points. So that is much more easier as compared to this one, because here you have to put all those like cursors over here manually. Okay, so here we are putting all those things manually. So in MATLAB you can just run a particular script and you can get it. So now I will just plot two curves. So I will just click on plot settings. I'll select the straps 1 and 1.2. Okay, so as you can see, when I clicked on 1 and 1.2, so here the values, okay, so you can see the values over here. Okay, so here it is 77 microamperes, here it is 131.50 microamperes. Okay, so it will show you the particular values for this one. So this is how we plot for this one. Like if you want to plot the IV characteristics, so here we can change. Okay, so here only I'm changing the VGS value and VDS. Okay, so the plot that I'm having over here is ID versus VDS, and VGS is changed. Okay, so it is having only two values. Now let me put it here as well. Okay, let me add text over here. So this is what? So this is ID versus VDS. Okay, so this is the output characteristics. So I can just choose okay, so ID versus VDS. So I am doing this one. Okay, so ID versus VDS. And here VGS is having two values. So let me put into text also. So I can choose the text. I can place the text over here. So one is the VGS equals to 1. Okay, so in this case, the VGS is equal to 1. Okay, so the VGS is equal to 1 over here, and the VGS is equal to 1.2 over the next one. So you can just play with these tools. Okay, so it is better to like understand what are the tools over here. So, and I will also tell you how to find out the power, okay, or the average current or average power also. So that also we can do using this one. And when we'll take up an example of inverter, then it will be more clear. Okay, so we'll take up examples of an inverter as well. So as you can see, we can just mark this one. Okay, so VGS equal to 1.2 for this curve, VGS equal to 1 for this curve, and we are doing this for ID versus VDS. Okay, so we are trying to find out the plot for ID versus VDS. Now you can do the same for PMOS. So you can try it for the PMOS also. So let me save this file. So click on save as and name it as NMOS underscore characterization. So I just wrote it as NMOS underscore CA. So you can also give a name like that. Okay, so here we got the NMOS characteristics. So we can just save it. Now you can do the same thing for PMOS also. So how you can do this output characteristic of PMOS? So you can just give a try for PMOS also. So open up a new schematic. Okay. So for doing that, since we are using the same library function, so we can just copy paste the same thing. So let us just copy the whole thing from here. And let us place it over this. Right click on this one, click on this. So let us just write this one. Okay, so let us find out the output characteristics for PMOS circuit. So for PMOS, what we need to do, we need to change this one, right? So this is NMOS, so we have to make this a PMOS circuit. So right click this one and change the name to PMOS. Okay, so I made this as PMOS circuit. Now this becomes PMOS. Then what will happen? So here we have to connect this, the source of the PMOS, to VDD, right? So we need to connect the source to VDD. So we'll connect this source to VDD. So let us break this one. Okay, let us put this circuit. So I can copy and paste it over here. Okay, so and in this case, this will become the VDS point. So what I will do, this will become the VDS. So I will choose this. And yeah, and one more thing, in this one, the drain of this PMOS is here. So we need to rotate this one. Okay, so we need to rotate this particular PMOS. So how to do that? So let us see. We will first select this one. So click on this move, select the PMOS, and what I'll do, instead of rotating, I will do the mirroring. So first I will do the mirroring of this one, then I will rotate. Okay, so once I rotate this one, so the drain is now here. Okay, so the drain is here now. So now we can connect this one. Okay, so this is the PMOS circuit for this one. So we need to do the output characterization of PMOS. So here we have the same library file, okay, and we have named the particular PMOS here, that is the PMOS one from this particular model file. Okay, so the name of the model file was PMOS one, so we have written here PMOS one over here. Now what we will do, I'll just run this particular circuit. Okay, so here what I'll change, I change this V1. Okay, so but here in this case, this is the equal to the VDD. So this one is nothing but VDD. Okay, so this is VDD, so we will not change this one, so we need to change this, that is the VDS. Okay, so let me just, we can also rename this one. Okay, so VDS, we can write down this one as VDS, this one as VGS also. Okay, and we can also put up some nets as well. Now what I'll do, I'll change this one. I'll write down the V1 as VDS and V2 as VGS. Okay, so I've just changed this one. So I'm changing this VDS value and this VDS. I'll see what values I will get. So let me save it as PMOS. Okay, so I've saved it as PMOS, and now let us run this particular circuit. So now I want to run this one, and here is the current. So as you can see, this is the PMOS characteristics, right? So in this one, I'm getting the PMOS characteristics in this form. And what about the NMOS characteristics? So we can run this NMOS characteristic as well. So NMOS, I was getting like this, right? So NMOS is this form, PMOS is this. Okay, so let us just bring this near. So all of you have got the output characteristics. So just see if you are getting the output characteristics like this or not. So this is how we find out the output characteristics for NMOS and PMOS. Okay. So let me know if you are getting this or not. So first try to do this output characterization of NMOS and PMOS. And if you are getting this particular NMOS and PMOS, then I will show you some more details about this one. Okay, so I'll show you how to find out the average value, how to find out the power, and how we can like do some calculations within this graph only. So I suppose it is clear up to this one.
Sir, you have some questions in chat box.
Okay. Okay, in chat box. Okay, let me check those. Okay, this is Arup Shankar Bhaumik is there. Okay, so voltage source, can you explain again, please? Okay, just brief about. Okay, okay, so what kind of sweep, start frequency? Okay, may I share my screen? Okay, Bhaumik, I'm not sure whether we can do that. What is the difference between H-Spice and LT-Spice? Okay, yeah, that also I'll tell you what is the difference between H-Spice and LT-Spice. So that is a good question actually. And we can do noise analysis. Yes, Tyagaranjan, we can do noise analysis as well. So noise analysis, DC, AC, transfer characteristics, so all these things we can do in this one. So how can we change the aspect ratio of the transistor? Okay, yeah, aspect ratio of the transistor. So that also I am going to take now. Okay, so first of all, so I have seen those in the chat box. So yeah, so for this one, the difference between LT spice and H spice, see, H spice is widely used in the industries. So most of the bigger industries, or you can say semiconductor industries, they actually prefer H spice because of their problem solving ability. Okay, so there are a lot of equations in the spice simulators. So what is the function of a simulator? Actually, it simulates. It means it will try to solve those equations. Okay, so in HSpice, there are several ways to solve that particular equation. So if you are getting a particular graph in LT-Spice, okay, so you can compare that one to the different simulator, that is HSpice. So you will find the difference. Okay, since I'm using the 180 nanometer technology for TSMC, okay, so if the same file I'm using in HSpice, then there will be a difference between these two graphs as well. Okay, you will not find the same graph in that one. Like there will be some difference, like graph will look the same, but they won't be having the same value. It is because of the equations that they use, or the process you can say they use to solve those equations. So for that, what you can do is that in HSpice, there is a, you can say, a kind of a worksheet is there, or you can say a data sheet is there in HSpice. So you can find it easily in Google also. So there you will see how they put up the equations. So for model 1, model 2 and model 3, so all those models, how they perform using an HSpice. So you can just check for HSpice models. Okay, you can search in Google for HSpice models, for you can say level 3 or BC model. Then you will know like which of these parameters work in HSpice. So why we are preferring LT Spice is because LT Spice is first of all freely available, and there are a lot of tools that we can use, and we can also collaborate with MATLAB. So we can actually work these files along with the MATLAB. So that is the like one of the advantages of using LT Spice. And most of the circuit simulations we can do using the LT Spice. Okay, now in LT Spice, like if you want to find out the parasitic capacitance and all those things, okay, so those you cannot do using just the circuit simulations. For that you need to use Spice code. Okay, so here you cannot find out the parasitic capacitance just by running the circuits. So for finding out the parasitic, you need to have a Spice code. And the same goes for HSpice. So HSpice, there are some built-in codes in HSpice. So from where you can find out the parasitic capacitances easily. So it gives a better edge actually. So HSpice, I can say that it is a little bit better than LT Spice. But if you are doing some basic simulations, or even if you are going to design an op-amp or anything, so LT Spice, the advantage is that you can use a schematic, and you can perform all the simulations which you can do in HSpice. So okay, so I'll start with the advantages of LT Spice first, and then I will compare it with the HSpice. So first of all, the advantages of LT Spice is that we can perform both the, like we can use either Spice code or we can use the schematic. So this is one of the advantages of LT Spice. Next is that we can plot these particular graphs, we can save the data of these graphs, and we can plot it in MATLAB also, and we can try to run, or we can do the calculations using MATLAB. So these are one of the advantages of using LT Spice. And there are a lot of models available with analog devices or any other you can use. So there are a variety of lots of models available on the internet that you can use it with LT Spice. So these are some of the advantages of using an LT Spice. Now in HSpice, if you are doing only the MOSFET based characteristics, like if you are using a particular model, like say for NMOS, PMOS, so you are using from TSMC or any other. So for that, the HSpice is better, because in HSpice, you will be able to do this kind of simulations easily. And if you want to find out the parasitics, so these things can be done easily in HSpice. But there you will not go get this kind of like schematics. So you don't have schematics in HSpice. So you need to write down the whole code in HSpice. So that is why writing a code in HSpice takes a lot of time. And that's why nowadays people are preferring LT Spice. And LT Spice is growing faster and it is catching more attention because it is freely available and it has a lot of tools that we can use. So I would say that if you are designing op-amp circuits, then you should go for LT Spice. And if you are going for device modeling, then I would say that you should prefer doing that in H Spice. So these are the difference between these two. And we can also do the noise analysis. So someone asked about the noise analysis. So noise analysis we can do also. So here you can go to the edit simulation command and you can see here. So what are the analysis that we can do? So we can do the transient analysis, we can do the AC analysis. Okay, so DC sweeping we have already seen. We can do the noise analysis. Okay, here we can choose the output node. Okay, you can choose the output node, you can choose the input node, you can choose which type of sweep you want to do, and you can do the DC transfer characterization. You can also do this one like operating point. If you want to find out the operating point, so dot op, so you can just run this on dot op, and you can just run this one and you'll get a operating point. Okay, so here you can see the operating points. So operating points also you can display over here, and you can copy these also, like you can copy these to any text or anything. So Control C, if you put Control C, so you can easily copy this one. Now if you want to do noise analysis, just put the values what, so output and input. So here let us say it is BGS1, or you can just write down V2. You can choose the sweep over here. You can put how many numbers, then starting frequency and stop frequency you can put. Okay, so in noise, yeah, you can change this one. So in the noise analysis, actually these are two voltages. So that is why I will show you one example how to do the noise analysis. Okay, so that also we'll see how to do the noise analysis. So that we can do actually in the RC circuit, we could have done that one. Or in when we'll do the inverter circuit, then also I will show you how to do that one. Okay, because here it is not taking, because we are not selecting any output node actually. Okay, so we can do this later on, because noise, like for noise, we need some output node and we can connect it with the output node and then we can do. So transient analysis we can run. So transient analysis we can do. Okay, you can check the transient values. So you can do the transient analysis. So you can just choose the transients or what values you can do. So you can just check for 100 nano or 100 milli. So like that also you can do. So this transient analysis, DC analysis, so these will be much more clear when we'll do the this one inverter. So when we'll take up the inverter tomorrow, so these things will be clear. Okay, so we'll see all the different types of analysis that we can do using an inverter, because there are a lot of options in an inverter. So we'll see how to find out the noise, how to calculate the power dissipation, and all those things will be covered in that one.
You have two more questions in the chat box.
Yes, yes. I'll just wait. I'll just. Okay, let me check with this one. Okay, can we do the Monte Carlo analysis in LT Spice? Yes, yes, we can do the Monte Carlo analysis. We can do the process analysis also. PVT analysis also we can do. And Monte Carlo analysis also we can do. But in PVT analysis, okay, so there we have to do it manually. Like we have to do the process changes for all the different cases, like fast NMOS, fast PMOS. So we have to select the different models and we have to do it separately. And for plotting it all together, we can make use of the MATLAB. Okay, so for all the different processes, we can use the MATLAB for plotting all the plots in a single graph. And for Monte Carlo analysis, I will show you how to do the Monte Carlo analysis. Okay, so that I'll show you how to do that Monte Carlo analysis. And one more question was there, sir, can we perform simulation for different technology nodes on LTSpice, or is it only 180? Okay, yeah, we can actually do this for different technology nodes also. Okay, so suppose for this one I have used 180, and I can also choose a different also. So let me show you with another example. So let us just save this one and let us try with a different one. So actually we can choose different technologies. So here, whatever technologies we are using, just make sure that the NMOS or the component that you are using should be present in this particular library. Okay, so that is the only thing you have to choose. Like this particular component name should match with the name of the component available with this particular library. Now, if I want to use a different library, so let us say if I want to use a different library, so let us say I want to use a level 5. Okay, so if I want to use 5 micro, okay, so if I want to use a different technology, right? Okay, so I'm using this particular technology. Now, first of all, I have to also check this one, that what is the name of my model file, what is the name of my NMOS, and what is the name of my PMOS. So first open it with either a notepad or a WordPad. Now here you see the name is given NMOS, here it is given PMOS. So here let us change this one to NMOS 1, and here let us change this one to PMOS 1. Okay, because this is the naming that we are going to use in our circuit. So that's why we need to change this one. Okay, so this I have changed it to NMOS 1, this one to PMOS 1. And this is a different technology. You can see here it is 0.5 micrometer. So I'm using a different technology over here. So let us choose that. Okay, so we have already opened it. So let us cancel this one. So now let us run this. Okay, so once I have run this one, so I am getting the output characteristics for this one. Okay, so and if you want to do it in another way, so you can just click on this one. You can click on view, then go to the Spice netlist. Then here you select all, right click on this one and go to the edit as independent list. Okay, now save it as a .cir file. This editor file will come up. Now in this editor file, you can see here, so this is the default library, right? So this is the default library. So we can remove this default library from here. Now here we are choosing two models, so model 1 and model 2. Okay, so here we are choosing these two models. So here, what is the model that we are using over here? NMOS 1, right? So here we are using NMOS 1. Okay, so here you don't need this dot model lines. Okay, why? Because we are already getting this from this dot library. Okay, so even if you don't use this one, then also it will work. Okay, so let us just run this one, and you can just choose which ones you want to plot. So ID, if I want to plot, so I can just choose. So here you can see I'm able to plot this one. Okay, so just 1 minute. So I suppose this is clear to you guys, what we can do with LTSpice. So can we perform the simulation? Yeah. So this has been answered, like what are the different technology nodes. So we can actually do with another nodes also, like we can use 45 nanometer technology also. Okay, so here I have used 0.5 micrometer technology. So you can also use, you can say 45 nanometer technology also. So instead of placing this one in the circuit, suppose you don't want to place that particular library in this particular circuit, like again and again you are doing that one. So instead of that, you can just change the name of the model file from here only. Okay. So basically, like, you will be saving time in that one. So instead of going to that file and then browsing to it, so you can either just edit this particular netlist. Okay, so there is a good option in LTSpice that you can actually edit the netlist of this one and you can directly run this file. So I suppose this is clear to you guys. And one more thing that we can do is that we can find out the power in the components. Okay, so if I want to find out the power in these components, so I can, like, if you get this kind of mark, okay, so this actually represents the current. And when you get this probe, okay, this red probe, so this means the voltage. So wherever you will place this one, so this will give you the voltage and this will give you the current. Okay, so now let us see. Okay, so let me say that for this one, like, if you want to find out the power for this one, so what you can do, you can press Alt. Okay, then you will get this thermometer kind of a symbol. Okay, when you will bring your cursor to any of these models, so press Alt and bring this to any of the parameters. So if you bring this to this particular V1 voltage, so you'll get a power in this particular V1. If you bring this to this NMOS, you will get the power in this particular device. If you bring this to this, then you'll get the power in this one. So if I do this, so if I click on this one, so this will give me the power. Okay, so here you can see the equation. Okay, so let me remove this ID first. So you can see the different powers that we are having, and here is the equation. Okay, so VDS1 multiplied by ID of M1 plus of VGS of 1 multiplied by IG of M1. So the sum of these two is giving us this particular power across this particular NMOS. Okay, and if you want to know the power across this one, so click on Alt and press the left click. So you will get VDS multiplied by I of that. Okay, so this is VDS. So this is the VD multiplied by IV1. So you are getting the different power across this one. And so these are the things. So basically how we calculate this one. Okay, and in the PMOS characteristics, so let me show you one more thing. So let me open up the PMOS circuit again, and here in this one, so in the PMOS characteristics, so here we have drawn the plot, right? So sorry, this one is the IS, so I will need to find out the ID. So here the ID is here, so we click on this one. So we have got the ID. Okay, so these currents are all negative values, right? And if I want to make these positive values, so what I'll do, I'll just right click on this one, and here in place of ID, so I'll put a minus sign over here, so minus of ID1, and this becomes, okay, so this graph will give me the positive values of this ID curve. Okay, so this will give me the positive curve. Now what you can do is that you can club these two. Okay, so this is the PMOS curve, and then we can also like click on the NMOS. So okay, so as you can see, so we have a PMOS and an NMOS output characteristics, right? So if we bring these two together, right? So if I bring this PMOS and NMOS together, so this curve and this curve. So when we bring these two curves together, so this NMOS plus PMOS will give us the CMOS characteristics. Okay, so this we will see what is the characteristics of a CMOS. So this we can do that tomorrow. And if you have any queries regarding this one, so up to NMOS, PMOS characterization, and about the tool, if you want to ask me anything about the tool, you can ask me today. And like we will start with the inverter circuit tomorrow, and we will see what else we can do with the inverter circuit. Like we'll be basically forming the symbols and everything, and we'll see the transient analysis, then power dissipation and all those things in inverter circuit. Okay, and then the next day we will try to do for the differential amplifier, and then the op-amp circuit. So I hope these are clear to you, since you already know the basics, just familiarization with the tool. I think like this session, like you have understood how to do that one. Let me see if someone has posted any queries in this one. Okay, so Arup Shankar Bhaumik, so 65 nanometer, 45, 20. Yes, we can do that one. So you can just, what you can do is that in place of this 180 nanometer technology file, that is the TSMC 180 nanometer file, so you can use a 45 nanometer file also. So just make sure that the name of this file, okay, so the name of this NMOS model file is NMOS1. So it should be the same as the file that is inside this one, okay. So the when you are calling a parameter from this model file, so those two should be the same. So you need to make sure that these two are same. Then only you will get the actual characteristics. So I suppose like you all have understood this one, and you can also try with some other different nodes also. Like you can try with 45 nanometer also, and even if 28 nanometer technology file is available with you, then you can also try with that one as well. Okay, and one more thing that we can do is, like, tomorrow I'll show how we can also change the parameters, like how we can change the widths of this one. Okay, so we will basically do the parametric analysis. Okay, so when we'll talk about the inverter, so we'll do the parametric analysis for the inverter as well, and we'll see if when we change the width of a NMOS, so what happens to the output characteristic. If we change the width of a PMOS, then what happens to the output characteristics. Okay, so those things we'll see tomorrow, and we'll see how to calculate the power in an inverter, and we also see if we put different loads, then what will happen to our inverter circuit. Okay, so I suppose there are no more queries, I think, sir.
Okay.
So any more queries from the participants?
Okay, sir. I think they don't have any queries now.
Okay, sir.
So thank you, Dr. Sarfaraz Hussain, for his informative demonstration today. He will continue today in the last session, tomorrow in the last session. So today we are going to wind up for now.
Okay, sir. Yeah, thank you so much for listening. And let us see. Yes, we will do tomorrow. So we'll talk about an inverter and all. And I guess that will be more clear. Like when we'll get acquainted with the tool, so things will be more clear, I guess.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.